Sorry, I have to change the audio setting. Varnanam rasanam chandasamaphi mangalanam chakartaram vande vani vinayaka bhavani shankaro vande shraddha vishwasarupinam yabhyam vinana pashyanti siddha स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरं वन्दे बोधमयं नित्यं गुरुं शङ्कररूपिणं यमाश्रितो हि वक्रोऽपि चन्द्रसर्वत्र वन्द्यते सीतारामगुणग्राम पुण्यारण्यविहारिणो वन्दे विशुद्धविज्ञान कवीश्वर कवीश्वर उद्भवस्थितिसंहार कारिणीं क्लेशहारिणीं सर्वश्रेयस्करीं सीतां नतोऽहं रामवल्लभाम् यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुराः यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जो यथा हेमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवान् बोधे स्थितिशावतां वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम् नानापुराणनिगमागमसम्मतं यद् रामायणेन गदितं प्रचलन्यतोऽपि स्वान्तसुखाय तुलसीरघुनाथगाथा आशानिबन्धमतिमञ्जुलमातनोति आशानिबन्धमतिमञ्जुलमातनोति हरे जो सुमिरत सिद्धि होई गणनायक जो सुमिरत सिद्धि होई गणनायक करिवर भगन करौ अनुग्रह सोई बोधिरासि सुभगुण सगन मूक होई वाचाल पंगुचरै गिरिवर गहन जासु कृपा सुदयाल द्रवौ सकल कलिमल दहल नील सरोरुहश्याम तरुण अरुण पार जनयन करौ सुमम उर्धाम सदा क्षीर सागर शयन कुन्द इन्दु समदेह कुमार मन करुणामयन जाहि दीन परनेह कुमार मन करौ कृपा मदनमयन बन्दा गुरुपद कंज कृपा सिंधु नवरूप हरि महामोहतम भोज जासु वचन रवि कर निकर जासु वचन रवि कर निकर जासु वचन रवि कर निकर सिया हर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय गुरु भाई सब संतन की जय। Hari Om everybody. 2 weeks of no class and I forgot how to play harmonium. All right. Reminder that everyone, please, if you could turn on your videos. We are seeing Kishkinda Kanda in this class right now. We've reached the wonderful section where Bhagavan has fulfilled his promise to Sugriva, and he has killed Bali with a single arrow. And he has given Atmanyan to Tara, so she has now dropped all of her sorrow. And he asked Lakshmana to go and crown Sugriva as king and to crown Angad as crown prince. So Bhagavan Ram fulfilled his part to Sugriva. He's never in debt to any of us jivas. We are always the ones in debt. So Sugriva is the one who is yet to now fulfill his promise to Bhagavan Ram. It so happens that it is not the right time for the Vanarasena to go looking for Sitaji right now because the rainy season is just about to begin. So our compassionate Bhagavan Ram says, well, let's wait for rainy season to finish, because how are monkeys going to go looking for Sitaji in the monsoon season while it's raining and pouring and they don't like water and all those kinds of things? And anyways, there's a time of the year that our rishis have carved out where we stay in one place and we do sadhana. So in the rainy season, Bhagavan Ram goes to Pravarshan Parvat, a mountain nearby, and he stays there. And this section that's about to come is reflections on Bhagavan's observations of what he sees during the rainy season. As nature continues to evolve, to change, at different times in the rainy season, different things happen. So this section that is coming up, it's not like Bhagavan Ram sits and he tells it all in one time. It would be over like many, many, many days where the weather is changing. Each time he sees the change, he reflects on the beauty of the nature that he's seeing around. And he tells Lakshmana about bhakti, about vairagya, about nripaniti, meaning about politics and statecraft and all of that, and about viveka, how to think correctly about life. He uses the rainy season as an opportunity to share his reflections about these topics to Lakshmana. Now, when you see anything in this world, what do you think about? Like when you see rain, what comes to your mind? Oh God, I didn't bring an umbrella. Oh God, I just washed my car today. Oh God, my shoes are going to get dirty. Oh God, I did laundry today. Why did it rain today? Oh God. So we think all kinds of things. Or, oh yes, I don't need to water my plants because it's going to rain, right? So many different things we could think about when it rains. What we think about when we see anything in the world is an indication about our vision. When a spiritual person sees anything in the world, they're automatically reminded of something spiritual. The principle is yatha drishti tatha srishti. As is our vision, so is the world. The classic example for this is Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Dronacharya ji, the Acharya of the Pandavas and Kauravas, asked Duryodhana to go into the city and find one good person. And he asked Yudhishthira to go into the same city and find one bad person. Duryodhana came back and told Dronacharya ji he couldn't find a single good person in the city. And Yudhishthira ji came back and said he couldn't find a single bad person in the city. As is our vision, so is the world that we see outside. What is our vision when we see the world? What could it be? Now Bhagavan Ram is going to present what it could be. Bhagavan Rama's vision comes out very clearly in this section of Kishkinda Kanda. Now, Bhagavan Rama's vision is not just a vision. Oh, here's another vision to think about. Bhagavan Rama's vision is the vision. It is not just the vision of Rama, it is the vision of the entire Ramayana. You know, if somebody goes to law school, you expect them to come out as a lawyer. I mean, that's what you go to law school for, right? You don't expect them to come out as someone who needs to hire a lawyer. expect them to become a lawyer having gone through law school. When somebody goes to med school, you expect them to come out a doctor, not a patient. Well, when we go through Ramayana, what are we supposed to come out with? Something has to happen. What are we supposed to come out with? We're supposed to come out with the vision of Ramayana. What is that vision of Ramayana? That is Bhagavan Rama's vision. And that vision is now presented through his reveries in nature. The last, we reached Doha number 13 in this Kishkinda Kanda, where he says, Lakshmana Deku, Lakshman, look, Mora Gana, look at the whole group of peacocks. Nachata Bharida Pekhi. They are dancing, looking at these rain clouds. How? Grihi Biratirata Harashajasa Vishnu Bhagata Kahudeki. Just like a detached grihastha is happy to see a devotee of Bhagavan coming to their house. Now, someone might read this and say, okay, what's the big deal with this? But what is happening is Bhagavan is seeing something in nature and he's using it as an opportunity to teach us about dharma, about bhakti, about viveka, about vairagya. So in Bhagavan Rama's eyes, what is the ideal grihastha's life? The ideal householder's life is one where he or she develops detachment and devotion. What is the purpose of grihastha life? To develop detachment and to develop devotion. This is Bhagavan Rama's message, so clearly put in such a simple analogy. You know, so many problems come up as a result of people living married life without developing these qualities, without developing detachment, without developing devotion. So many things happen. But in Bhagavan Rama's eyes, this is the purpose of married life. So now everyone has to ask themselves, is this how I'm living? Are these the qualities that I am developing? Am I becoming detached or am I becoming more attached? Am I developing devotion or am I just as I was when I entered Grihastha life? You know, a really interesting thing about this is women are ahead when they enter Grihastha life. You know why? Because they have left their home. Most of them, I'm talking regularly, right? In the normal circumstances, a woman leaves her home. In many cases, she drops her surname and takes another surname. In some cultures, she takes a whole new name. I don't know if you know that, but like my mom and my sister, their whole name is different. First name, middle name, last name, everything. So they get a whole new identity in some cultures, right? Then they leave all the people that they grew up with and they go and live somewhere else, in a different home, in a different environment. How much detachment is required for that, first of all? In the first instance. So who is ahead? Right there, the woman is ahead. Then the really interesting other thing about this is, when we had studied Nari Dharma back in Aranya Kanda, we had seen how just by living a life of duty, a woman develops all the qualities that are required on the spiritual journey. So what happens is a lot of women in relationships end up becoming purified. They end up developing clarity, viveka, detachment, bhakti. And they go to satsanga. But many times their spouses, their husbands, don't necessarily do the same. True or false? And then what happens as a result? I have had endless women come to me in the last few years talking about how this is like many years after being married. And they don't, I'm paraphrasing just very succinctly, but they feel stuck because they're on different pages. Why? Because both people did not develop the qualities they were supposed to develop. This is just a simple, one way to think about it. You can think in so many other ways, but Bhagavan Ram is telling very clearly, the goal of Grihastha life, the goal of married life, is to come out having developed detachment and having developed devotion. Like this, different aspects of life he's going to take, using nature as the example. He's going to teach us about the way we should be seeing life. So this is now after Doha number 13. We will chant together in Kishkinda Kanda. This would be page 745, I think, right? If everyone has the same document. Good, we start? That's where we ended, right? That's where I think we ended. Okay, good. Ghana Ghamanda Naba Garajata Ghora. Now all the thundering, loud clouds gathered in the sky, and they made the cloud heavy, and they started to thunder. When the rain clouds first come and they get dark, and then there's more noise than rain at first, right? So a huge thundering noise going on. Bhagavan says, Priyahina Darapata Manamora. Without my beloved, without Sitaji, my heart is trembling, is afraid, is not okay. Meaning, see, it's the same monsoon season, and Bhagavan must be thinking, if this thunder is sounding like this here, she must be hearing the same thing. She must be scared wherever she is. And you know how it is when a big storm is happening, whether it's a rainstorm or snowstorm or whatever, right? Or any kind of weather warning. If those that you love are not with you, you're so worried about them. But if they're with you, then all of a sudden that same lockdown or whatever you call it, you enjoy it. It doesn't give the same joy in separation that it does in union. So Bhagavan Ram is remembering that, he's feeling the absence of Sitaji. And actually this highlights another really special principle, that when we are immersed in nature, our mind becomes quiet. Have you noticed that? When a person is immersed in nature, our mind becomes quiet. And when the mind becomes quiet, the pangs of separation become worse, because now they can speak more in the mind. Right? So in so many ways we can think about this, how the thunder reminds Bhagavan Ram about Sitaji, how it reminds us about what separation does to the heart. Then, Damini Damaka Rahana Ghana Mahi. Damini Damaka, the flashes of lightning, they don't remain amidst the thick clouds. You know, when the lightning comes, it comes for like a few seconds. I don't know if people try to capture it on photo, on what's it called, on camera and all that, or if they have like now there's so many things. There's probably a feature that you tell the phone, when the lightning flashes, then take the picture at that time. Right? I don't know. But no, because they have things like when the people smile, then you take the picture. Or when they wave, then you take all kinds of features cameras have nowadays, right? I don't know. But the point is, all of that to say, the lightning comes for like a flash of a second, right? It comes and it goes super quickly. Bhagavan is seeing the lightning. And what does it remind him of? He says, Khala ke priti jatha thira nahi. Just like the love or the friendship of a wicked person is not firm, meaning it is fleeting as lightning. You know, some people will do something and then you'll be like, I can't believe they could do this. But they did it, and they continue to do it. That's how they are, you know? Bhagavan says, wicked people, their goodness is like the flash of lightning. In Bhagavatam, when Vasudevji and Devakiji are going through that whole episode with Kamsa, you know what happens? Vasudevji makes a promise to Kamsa, and he exchanges Devaki's life with the life of all the children that are to come. And he says, you don't kill Devaki, your problem is with her children, right? So as soon as they're born, I promise I will bring them to you. And Kamsa, being who he was, you can tell the nobility of Vasudevji, that he knew Vasudevji was telling the truth. So he agreed. So they agreed on that, what's it called? Like, they made that deal. So now baby one was born. And Vasudevji took baby one to Kamsa. Kamsa saw the baby and he said, but this is baby number 1. My issues with baby number 8. What will this little baby do to me? You take this baby back. He said that. Vasudevji went back to Devakiji and she saw the baby, and you can imagine what happened to the mother's heart, right? She sees the baby and Vasudevji tells her this exact same thing, that the goodness of a wicked person is like the flash of lightning. Don't get too excited. And within a few moments, everything changed again, right? So the point is, we have to look out and make sure that our friendship, our good character, our love should not be fleeting, should not be fickle, should not be as unpredictable as the lightning. It can come here sometimes, come there sometimes, come anywhere. You don't know where to look for it, right? It should be firm. It should be sthira, right? Our friendship should be firm. If somebody is like this to you, well, you know, this same episode with Kamsa, if you think about it, you know how we talk about Bhagavan Krishna being the charioteer of Arjuna, how the Lord of the universe became a simple charioteer? For someone who is of a great stature to be the charioteer is a very big deal. Kamsa became the charioteer for Devaki to take her to her new home. Imagine how much love would have had to have been in his heart for that arrogant, egoistic Kamsa to decide to ride that chariot. So much love. And what happened? In an instant, all of it changed. We have to be very wary that our friendship, our love, is not like that. Okay. Then, Barashahi Jalada Bhumi Niyarai. Now all the rain clouds started to come down close to the earth. You know, when the clouds get heavy, they get closer and closer to earth because of gravity, right? The water evaporates and it goes up and it joins the clouds, and the clouds get heavy and it looks like they're very close to the ground sometimes. He says, Jatha Navahi Buddha Vidya Pai. Like a wise person getting knowledge, how he bows. You know, there's a principle that vinayam dadati iti vidya, that which gives humility, that is true knowledge. So if you get knowledge without humility, means it doesn't make you bow, it doesn't make you humble. That means you didn't get knowledge, you got information. True knowledge is supposed to make us humble. So Bhagavan Ram sees these clouds come bowing as though bowing to the earth, coming closer and closer. And it looks to him like a wise person who gets knowledge and becomes humble, bows. We are supposed to be reminded that when we get knowledge, it's supposed to bring humility, not arrogance, to our life. Then, Buddha Aghata Sahai Giri Kaise. You know how he says, look how the mountains are bearing the force of these raindrops. In the, I mean, not in Canada and in America and the USA. When it rains over there, it rains like tiny, soft drops, and all day it'll rain and all of that, right? But in other parts of the world, in tropical parts of the world, when it rains with vehemence. And then our roofs are made of galvanized, and you can't even hear yourself because of how heavily it is raining. And sometimes we had to pause classes because we couldn't hear anything. Right? So that intensity of the rain, the force of the rain, is what Bhagavan is referring to now. Right? So now you can imagine lightning has come, thunder has come, lightning has come, and now the rains are starting to pour down after the clouds have come down. He says, just like the mountain bears the force of these heavy, intense drops, in the same way, kala ke bachana santa saha jaise. That is just like how a saint bears the words of a wicked person. Wicked people say all kinds of things to people, to saints. And it is not that, from one point of view, it is not that it doesn't hurt. Right? From another point of view, I mean, the mountain is like, what's this rain going to do to me? Right? But Bhagavan is talking about the intensity with which it hits. Right? Like, there's a story of a great Mahatma who went to take a bath in Ganga. And as soon as he came out, someone went and spat on him. And so what did he do? He didn't say anything. He went right back into the Ganga and he took a bath again and he came back out. As soon as he came back, again this man spat on him. Again he said nothing and he went back and took a bath. This thing happened 108 times. 108 times this man spat on him. And 108 times he went and took a dip and came back out. After the 108th time, this man fell at the Mahatma's feet and begged for forgiveness because he realized what he had done. And you know the Mahatma's response? He said, no, I should be thanking you. It is the first time I got an opportunity to take a dip in the Ganga 108 times in a row like this. What the heart of a noble person does when a wicked person lashes out on them is like the way the mountain bears the force of that rain, right? So from one point of view, the mountain is standing long after the rain is gone, unshaken. But from the other point of view of the intensity, see how the mountain bears the pain. In our life also, insults are guaranteed to come. Who is there in this world who is not going to be insulted? Bhagavan Ram was insulted. Bhagavan Krishna was insulted. Every single great person in this world was insulted. So we are going to get insults. How are we supposed to deal with them? We are supposed to try to move in the direction of dealing with them like a saint, where the words don't break us, where we stand strong in spite of what comes. Being sama, being balanced in spite of tulya and ninda, in spite of praise, in spite of criticism. This is the devotee's vision. Bhagavan Krishna tells this in chapter 12 of Gita. Then, Another example that's given in the tradition is Kabir Dasji describes how when an elephant is walking and the dogs are barking around him. I mean, we don't grow up, we've not really grown up in these environments to be able to visualize this, right? But you can visualize it at the same time. An elephant is walking and dogs are barking around him. And the elephant is totally unfazed by the barks of the dog. What are the dog's barks going to do to him? That is how we're supposed to become, where people's insults and taunts are they just fall on deaf ears, as though we stand unshaken, irrespective. This is how to deal with people who are not nice in the world. Chudra nadi bhari chali torai. Now all the small little streamlets that are there, they suddenly got filled with all of this water, and they broke their banks and they started to flow all over. Like some waterfalls are there where they only flow when it rains. Like you need a certain volume of water before you can even see that waterfall. For some streams and rivers, you need a certain volume before you can see that it's a flowing river, it's a flowing stream. Ponds also and stuff, right? When it rains, then only they get water. That's like flash floods. I think it's called flash floods, where they collect the water and then it breaks the banks where they normally stayed, right? What this reminds Bhagavan Ram of, Jasa thorehu dhana khala itarai. Like a wicked person who gets a little bit of money or a little bit of name and fame, and they want to now make a big pomp and show about it. As soon as the rain goes away, all of that, those streams and rivers are going to dry up and become nothing again. It's a very temporary thing. But a wicked person, an arrogant person, with a little bit of money, a little bit of name and fame, they make a big thing about it. Have you seen people, they get a new job and then all of a sudden they're like going out for fancy dinners and then they want to buy big houses and all kinds of things. But there's no guarantee that that's going to last. So, like that, it reminds him how, people who have naturally gotten name and fame because of good things, they don't really care about it also. They don't go and boast about it. They don't go and talk about it. People who are born into noble, wealthy families, they don't show off their money. It is wicked people who use that opportunity to make a big deal out of something that is temporary. Bhagavan is saying, don't be like that. He's not saying, hey, go and find wicked people and tell them, hey, you're wicked. You're like that stream that gets full in the rainy season. And then, no, he's telling us to look into our heart to see if we have that tendency. And if we do, we all have it to some degree. So we have to look and find it and say, hey, Bhagavan Ram is calling this a not good quality. I should be taking it out. Then, Bhumi Parata Bha Dhabara Pani. Now all the water, the rainwater, falls on the earth and becomes muddy. Rainwater is like the purest thing that you can drink. Uncontaminated rainwater I'm talking about. Uncontaminated by the pollution that it goes through by the time it reaches us. Right? But he says, when that rainwater goes on the ground, it becomes muddy. How? Janu jivahi maya lapatani. Just like a jiva who is really pure. Sachitananda. That's who a jiva is. In essence, we're nothing but Brahman, right? But what happens? Because of Maya, we have sorrow, we feel bound, we feel limited. It is said that when a jiva is in their mother's womb, means when we are babies in the womb, we remember everything. We remember our past lives, we remember Bhagavan, we remember all the sorrow that we've gone through, we realize that it is not what we want, and the jiva in the womb prays to Bhagavan and says, Bhagavan, forgive me. I promise to remember you. I promise to strive for moksha when I'm born this time. And then they're born, and then what happens? Maya happens. You come out and you cry. And if you don't cry, they will beat you until you cry. And then that's all you do for the rest of your life. Right? If there's a little book called Forgive Me, by Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya writes this sentiment. You can go and check it out if you're interested. It's like very intense, though, I should warn you, right? Okay. Then, Samiti, Jalabharahi Talava. Now, the water that is all over the grounds, it slowly starts to seep in to ponds and starts to fill them up. Jimmy Sadaguna Sajjana Bahiava. Just like virtues go or come to a good person. You know, in a deep lake, when all the rivers and streams flow to it, it doesn't overflow. It stays as it is, right? It also doesn't ask the other rivers to come. They helplessly come looking for the big pond, right? Just like virtues come to a good person. They come looking for him. The virtues want their abode to be the noble person. You know, like when you're looking for a house, to buy a house, wherever you're living, you think about which neighborhood you want to go and live in based on the schools, based on the type of people that live there, based on proximity to work, whatever your factors are, right? So we go looking for a neighborhood that we feel is suitable for us. It's like that. The virtues go looking for a noble person that is a fit abode for them to reside in. Isn't that so cool? That means that goodness brings more goodness. Good qualities bring more good qualities. You hold on to one. That's why when we study all the virtues of a devotee and all, you'll hear so many times that you just need to practice one and all the rest will come. Why? Because good virtues go to the heart of a good person. So we just have to say, okay, well, which virtues am I going to hold on to? And then, not that you sit there waiting, which virtue came to me today? But why are you not coming? Hello, look, I have compassion, come no. Automatically, all the virtues flow to the person who is virtuous. More and more and more. Sarita Jala Nidhi Mahujai. This example is extended now. All the waters of the river flow towards the ocean. How? Hoi achala jimi jiva hari pai. Just like the jiva rushes towards Paramatma and finally becomes still when the jiva merges with Paramatma. The analogy is like this. The rivers go looking for the ocean. They're restless, they're rajasic, they're looking for their goal. And when they reach the ocean, they merge with the ocean, the depth of the ocean or lake, whichever, right? All that remains is total peace, total shanti. They have nowhere else to go now. They have nothing else to do now. That is like Bhagavan is saying, oh Jiva, you're so restless, you're so rajasic, you think you have to achieve this, you think you have to achieve that, you have to go here, you have to do that. Well, guess what? When you reach your goal of Brahmananda, when you realize that you are that reality, that is the time when you will get real peace. All the peace we think we're going to get is only pieces. Where's the real peace going to come? When we get this final goal. So Jiva, what should your goal be? Your goal should be Paramatma. Not my bucket list is to eat in 100 restaurants in 3 months. Or I don't know what kind of bucket list things people have, right? All kind of things they have. So, but Bhagavan is telling us what our goal is. So many people ask, but what is my purpose in life? Have you not asked that question before? What is my purpose in life? He's telling in simple words, just like the purpose of the river is to reach the ocean, in the same way, the purpose of a jiva is to reach Paramatma. You wanted your goal? Bhagavan told your goal. Now you can be like, no, Bhagavan, I don't believe you. That's for old people. You know, I'm not old yet. When I get old, then I'll make it my goal. This is everybody's goal. This is the only way we're going to get Shanti in this world. Then in the Doha now he says, Harita bhumi trinasankula samujhi parahi nahi pant. Just like, when it rains heavily and then all the nutrition of the... Okay, how when it rains a lot, then grass starts to grow everywhere? Now, what happens is you don't know then which area is the path and which area is not the path, because everything is just covered with grass, right? So the path also has been kind of hidden. The way we're supposed to go, where we're supposed to walk, is hidden now. You can't figure out the correct way to walk, to navigate. And he says, how? Jimi pa khanda badate gupta hoi sadagranta. Just like the true meaning of Shastra becomes hidden with the philosophy of people who break down our faith. Pa khanda is a person who... Pa is that which protects us. Pa would be like Shastra, right? Pa khanda is someone who corrupts, covers, breaks, twists the meaning of Shastra and hides it from us in a deceptive way. There are so many people who have their own theories, their own interpretation of our Shastras. I've met people who say, and it's, for no fault of theirs, it's just lack of awareness of how our tradition works also, right? They say, I don't want to go to Gita class and study Gita under a teacher unless I read Gita myself and get my own interpretation first. I want to figure out what I think about it first before I'll go learn it. Do we study math like that? I want to get my own interpretation of calculus before you tell me how it works. I want to get my own interpretation on how to fly a plane before you tell me how to. Okay, how many of us fly a plane? I want to get my own interpretation of how to drive before you teach me how to drive. That logic doesn't make sense, right? Shastra cannot be studied on our own. Pa khanda are people who come and give interpretations of Shastra that hide the true meaning of Shastra. Just like all this grass grows and covers the road that we're supposed to walk on, the path we're supposed to walk on, and now we don't know which is the correct path and which is not the path, right? And logic is a very powerful thing. Anything that can be proven logically can be logically disproven also. Look, I'll give you an example, right? One man went to borrow money from the bank, and like a big sum of money, right? Now the time for the loan was coming up, and so he told his friend, I'm not going to return this money to the bank. His friend said, why? He said, because it is papa to return the money. Papa to return the money? Yes, it is punya to keep it. Can you explain me what your logic is? He said, look, is it not true that punya is that which gives joy? Yes. Is it not true that papa is that which brings sorrow? Yes. Well, when I borrow the money and I have lots of money to spend, it gives me joy. Borrowing money is punya. And when I have to return it, it brings sorrow. So returning money is papa. So I'm not going to do papa and return this money. You see logic? That's the power of logic. Anything that can be logically proven can be logically disproven. Logic is extremely powerful. So we have to be really, really careful. Unless we are very grounded in our own philosophy, we shouldn't try to understand other people's philosophy. We have to try to protect ourselves from this confusion. That is why in Chinmay Mission, we study Advaita Vedanta. Right? Every organization will be part of a certain parampara. We are part of the Advaita Vedanta parampara. Now, we don't study interpretations. What we are studying is not Gurudev's interpretation of what the Upanishads said. We're studying directly what Shastra said word by word. what Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya said. Ramcharitmanas, line by line, we're going, right? So we're not hearing things and stories from mixed places and mixing and saying this is how it is based on our own like kitchery of understanding, right? Even materialistic views that cover spiritual views will fall under this. Like what? YOLO. You only live once. Just relax. Come. Enjoy. Life is meant to enjoy, right? I went to the Ghanaian store once and I was looking for some Ghanaian pepper sauce. And most of the stuff has like fish or shrimp in it. So I was reading the ingredients and I was seeing if they have a vegetarian one, and they didn't. And so it's a mom and pop shop, right? So I told the uncle, the owner, he was asking me, well, what are you looking for? I said, no, I'm looking for a vegetarian one. And he was like, why? You're a vegetarian? I said, yeah. And he said, but God made animals for us to enjoy. Like, dead serious. Right? Now, that's his philosophy, but that's not my philosophy. Right? So everyone will have their own philosophy, and everyone will try to put their philosophy on us also. We have to be very clear what our philosophy is, and that is supposed to come from Shastra. Why we have lost it? Well, it was a British strategy to break our grounding in Shastra, and that is just continuing, right? But now we have no reason to blame them because we have access. We can reestablish ourselves in it again. So we should remember that the greatest privilege is studying Shastra from the source itself, without people's interpretations and opinions, or telling what the tradition says without an authoritative source. Bhagavan's warning us. Then we get the clearest knowledge. Okay, now let us chant the next section. Wow, time is flying. Dadura dhuni chahu disa suhai. The sound of frogs croaking was spread in all the four directions. You know, it doesn't only have to be in the rainy season. Normally also on a quiet night in the right environment, you hear frogs croaking. Right? The orchestra of croaks going on in the background wherever you are. And Suhai, Bhagavan said it was beautiful. What did it remind him of? Veda Parhai Janu Batu Samudai. Like a group of brahmacharis chanting the Vedas. You know the Vedic chanting? Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namaste Rudramanyava. Like that. What Bhagavan said? The croaking of frogs reminded him of brahmacharis chanting Vedas. He said it's beautiful. I mean, let's leave it at that. The point is, noise doesn't always have to be something rajasic. Look how that croaking of frogs reminded Bhagavan of something so sattvic. And so, well, if you want Bhagavan to call your croaking nice, we croak anyways. Might as well make it nice. Go and learn some Vedic chanting. Nava pallava bhai betapa aneka. Now all the trees started to become filled with new leaves. So I guess the intensity of the rain is reducing, and now the result of the rain, of all the torrents is bearing. The trees became filled with countless new leaves. How? Sadhaka manajasa mile viveka. Just like the mind of a sadhaka that has gotten viveka, that has gotten clarity of thinking, or has gotten some common sense thinking, right? New clarity, new viveka. What it does to the mind of a sadhaka? It fills the mind of a sadhaka like new leaves fill and beautify a tree. Gurudev says that we don't see a new world in this spiritual journey. We see the world anew. So when our mind is filled with viveka, with clarity of thinking, how we're supposed to see the world according to Shastra, then, well, our mind gets filled with beauty, fresh beauty. You can go on thinking about it. In chapter 15, Bhagavan describes Chandamsi Yasya Parnani, the leaves of the tree of samsara are the Vedas. What sustains us in this world is the leaves of our tree. What sustains us in life is the viveka that we do. And if you're looking for viveka on life, there's no better place to look than Guruji's writings. You cannot find someone with a clearer, more simple presentation on life than our Puja Guruji. On YouTube, on the Chinmaya channel, there's a series called Tips for Happy Living. If you want this kind of viveka that Bhagavan Ram is talking about, go and check that series out. Guruji has a book also, but his lectures are phenomenal. Tips for Happy Living. All it is viveka on simple things in life that we should have thought about, but we haven't thought about. You listen to it and see how these words of Bhagavan Ram are so true. Arka Javasa Pata Binu Bhayo. Now, trees like Arka, plants like Arka and Javas became without leaves, means they shed their leaves. You know, some plants shed their leaves after the rainy season. Different seasons, different plants do different things, right? So here he's saying that there's some plants called Arka and Javas. They shed their leaves in the rainy season. How? Jasa Suraja Khala Udyama Gayo. Like how in a good government, when the country is being run well, all the plans, all the efforts of wicked people fall apart. You can see this is happening in today's day and age itself. Wherever there's a good government, you see how wickedness cannot reign as it would have in a corrupt government. Mm? The example he gives is like leaves that drop. When all leaves are growing, there's certain plants that drop their leaves. This arka is actually the madar plant. You know, I don't know about the rest of the world, but here in Trinidad and Guyana, we have, when we offer to Bhagavan Shiva the madar flower, no? That little purple tiny flower. It's called arka. How it's one of the, these two are tamasic plants. Why Bhagavan highlighted these plants? That arka plant, the madar plant, is that when you pick it, you know the sap, if it falls in your eyes, it's poisonous. You can become blind. And the javas, I don't know the translation for that. It's another type of plant where you touch the leaves and they itch. So they're tamasic plants. They're harmful. Right? And so he's saying when there's good governance, then wicked people can't reign. When there's new abundant growth in the world, then tamasic plants can't reign. And why is it that Bhagavan Ram told about a flower that is so dear to Lord Shiva as a tamasic flower, tamasic plant? But that just shows the compassion of our Bhagavan Shiva. What is there that Bhagavan Shiva doesn't accept? One-eyed beings and any jiva in this world that is not accepted by the rest of society. Any place in this world, look, he lives in Shamshan, right? Any place in society that is also not accepted. Bhagavan Shiva accepts everybody and everything that is considered to be outcast. These tamasic plants also, they also have the opportunity to reach Bhagavan's feet. How? By compassion of Bhagavan Ram. But I mean of Bhagavan Shiva. But the point here is that when we, and this is country, right? But we will, not all of us are running countries. Wherever we're running, whether we're running a home, whether we're running a business, whether we're part of an office environment, wherever there is good governance, wherever there is dharmic ruling, adharma cannot thrive. So if the adharma is thriving, we have to question, what is it that we can do to bring more dharma into this situation? Okay. Then, Khojata katahu milai nahi dhuri. He says, even if somebody searches after the rains stop, right? They won't find even a speck of dirt, speck of dust also. You know, after it rains, everything becomes clean. The plants must be like, oh, thank God I can breathe again, right? All the dust is wiped off, all the dirt from everywhere is gone, and everything is clean and pure. Bhagavan says, the example is so interesting. He says, Karai krodha jimi dharamahi duri. Just like anger wipes out dharma. See, he's using something positive now, and he's describing something negative, right? So the rain comes and it cleans out, it washes away all possible dirt. There's nothing left. You can't find a speck of dust. How? Like when anger comes in the mind, it wipes out totally. You won't find a speck of dharma in the mind when there is anger. That's like a scary thing to think about. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. When anger comes, we start to have delusional thinking. We think upside down. What is good for us, we think it's bad. What is bad for us, we think it's good. Sammohat smriti vipramaha. We lose our memory. We forget that the last time we thought like this, we ended up in trouble. Smriti bhramshat buddhi nashaha. Our intellect is destroyed. We lose our capacity to think rationally. And buddhi nashat pranashyati. The person is destroyed, meaning he perishes to his humanness as a result of anger. Anger inhibits our intellect from working, and our intellect is required for us to do dharma. So when we invite anger, we should know that we're sending away dharma. And it's not only anger, it'll be things like fear also. When fear comes, we're ready to do whatever it is to protect ourselves and ready to do all kind of wrong things to remove the fear. Like, like Kamsa, he got scared and he was ready to kill Devaki to remove that fear. Right? So anger completely washes away dharma. So we can search however much we want. You won't find dharma where there is anger. This is what Bhagavan Ram is saying and what Bhagavan Krishna is saying. That's a serious thing for us to think about. Huh? When anger comes, what are we supposed to do? You know, a lot of us say, well, I can't help it. I mean, anger is a natural part of my life and you can't help getting angry. And here's a test. If you found out that the next time you got angry, you will not be allowed to eat that day. You might be like, well, I can't help it. Okay, the next time you get angry, you'll lose all your hair from your head. What? Now I'm going to think twice about whether I'm going to get angry. Okay, fine, give it more realistic. The next time you get angry, you're going to have to give $1,000 to an organization that you do not believe in. The next time you get angry, you're not going to be allowed to go to satsang, if you're a satsangi. Right? You're not going to be allowed to go to satsang for a week. Will you get angry the same way? Now the mind will think differently. Do I have to get angry? The opportunity cost is greater now. So the question about controlling anger becomes more real. What is the Bhagavan is saying? We don't think about the opportunity cost of anger. Bhagavan is saying the opportunity cost of anger is dharma. Choose one. Which one do you want? Now, are we willing to think about whether it is something that we can't avoid? Our mind is very quick to say we can't do this, we can't do that. But where there is dharma, if we want dharma, we have to be ready to find a way to remove anger. And anger comes from unfulfilled desires. So anyways, that's a whole different topic. Point is, when I'm getting angry, I have to ask myself, am I ready to let my dharma just wash out of my mind? Is it true that I can't control my anger? Food for thought. Alright, then he says, Sasi sampanna soha mahikaisi upakari ke sampati jaisi. How does the earth shine when it is filled with all these fresh crops that are growing now? You know, all the nice grains and crops start to grow after the rainy season. And it makes the earth look so beautiful. It shines like the wealth of a generous person. The crops grow for the benefit of others. You know, there's that bhajan, Nadiya na piye kabhi apna jal, vriksha na khaye kabhi apne phal. The tree never eats its own fruit. The crop doesn't grow to feed itself. The crop grows for the benefit of others. So there's a beauty in their growth. We want to see them grow, right? In the same way, we want to see generous people prosper, because when they prosper, society is sustained. So, am I the kind of person whose wealth and prosperity brings beauty and sustenance to society like the crops? Or am I someone whose wealth is not like the crops? Do others prosper in my prosperity? And others doesn't mean my family, and my friends. Others means the whole society, the whole world. Do they prosper because of my prosperity or not? Bhagavan Ram is making us think. We could very well pass it without thinking, but this is the vision of Bhagavan Ram. This is the vision of Ramayana. It's supposed to do something to our vision also. Okay. Nisi tamaghana khadyota biraja. Now at night what happens is that in the thick darkness of the night, the fireflies start to shine and they start to rule. You know, they become boss. Firefly means, it's called candlefly other places, right? Those little flies that give off a light. We didn't have them in Ghana growing up. I never saw a firefly in my life. I only heard about them. And then we used to watch, I don't remember, some show we were watching, some kids' cartoon we were watching. And there's a scene where they bring a lantern in the dark. This is like in the forest in the dark. And a bear comes with a lantern And inside the lantern, there's little fireflies that are the candle. Well, when I came to Trinidad and I saw a real firefly, I realized that that's not possible. Fireflies don't give the kind of light that does anything. They're just a little like twinkle, right? Now he compares, he says the fireflies rule and they shine in the thick darkness of the night. How? Janu dambhina kara mila samaja. Just like a group of hypocrites that has gotten together. Fireflies are compared to hypocrites. Actually, fireflies have a negative connotation in Tulsidasji's Ramayana. Right? See why. You can't actually, when the moon comes out, it's very hard to see the fireflies. What more when the sun comes out, right? They become as though inexistent in the presence of the moon, in the presence of the sun. Their only glory is in total darkness. Right? Then, their light is absolutely not beneficial to anybody. Can you read in that light? Can you do anything in that light? You can collect all of them and try and put them in a lantern and see if it works. But a firefly's light is not beneficial. In the same way, the knowledge, the resources of wicked people is of no benefit to anybody. They shine in their own glory only, in each other's company when there's all only hypocritical people. But that glory gets hidden in the face of the true light of knowledge. When true knowledge is there, it cannot shine. When there's true knowledge, hypocrites with their pretense cannot shine. We become a nobody in the presence of greatness if we really are just pretending. That is why, one of the ways in which hypocrisy goes away is by spending time with saints. That's one of the sadhanas that is given to combat it. Right? Because in the face of greatness, we realize how little our littleness is. Anyways, Tulsidasji in Sundarkand, not Tulsidasji, Sitaji in Sundarkand, when Ravana comes to try to convince her to become his queen, she tells Ravana, "You are like a firefly, and Bhagavan Ram is like the sun." She tells Ravana, that Ravana who the whole world is scared of, you're a little firefly, Kadyut. And Bhagavan Ram is the sun, so calm down. You're a nobody. You can only talk because he's not here. It only flourishes in darkness. Now see us. We are all jivas. We jivas are actually Bhagavan. There's only one thing in this universe. We're only pretending to be jivas. We're nothing but the Lord, pretending to be a limited being. We're nothing but the infinite reality, pretending to be finite. And that can happen only in the darkness of ignorance. So we shine in our little ways. But what is finite greatness compared to infinite greatness? That's like the firefly compared to the sun. So we have to check our knowledge, check our virtues. Are they only great in the company of mediocre people? Are they great in great people's company? That will tell us how great they really are. So we have to make sure that, and we have to make sure that all of the resources that we have, anything that we have, is not meant to benefit just ourselves, is meant to benefit the whole of society. Point, don't be a firefly. Don't be a firefly. Like that. Okay. I think we should pause here because the next one is, that one will take a few minutes to talk about. Don't read it. I mean, read it if you want, but we'll talk about the rest next week. We'll pause right here and we'll pick up from here next week. We'll see what else Bhagavan Ram has to say. After the rainy season, what is going to come is autumn. And there will be reflections. And after this only, then Bhagavan is going to be like, hey, everything's like chill. Where's Sugriva? Why is he not showing up? Sugriva is too busy chilling and enjoying life to remember now his promise to Bhagavan Ram. So all that's yet to come. We'll see that. We'll see where we get to next week. So I will do one Om, then I will do announcements, then I'll do closing prayer, and then I'll open for anybody who wants to share anything or ask anything. Okay. Chinmay Mission Guyana started a puja course yesterday, 16-step puja course in 16 sessions. If you are interested, by special request, we're keeping registration open for a few more days. We're sending the recording to those interested. After that, registration will be completely closed. So if you know anybody who's interested in learning how to do puja, learning why it is done, not a fancy puja, a simple puja for us to do with our own family or as sadhakas ourselves in our own homes, that's going on every Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Guyana time. You can let anybody who's interested know and sign up, and we will send them the details. It is an opportunity for us to gain clarity on a very popular sadhana that has gotten so degraded over the years that, so much the onslaught of time, the onslaught of people with agendas and all of that. But it is actually a very beautiful sadhana that is meant to bring purity of mind. So and it brings devotion for Bhagavan as well. If you're interested or know anyone, you can let them know to register. Then Bhagavad Gita chanting competition registration has opened. This is only open to people in Guyana and St. Martin. If you know anybody who is interested in learning how to chant chapter 12 in Guyana, please encourage them. Even if they don't want to, encourage them. The principle is when we learn Gita, when we learn to chant it, then we want to know what it means. We seek the meaning and then we live it. In the tradition, it goes like this. First you chant, then you learn it, then you live it. So chapter 12 is the summary of all of Bhakti Yoga. We'll be learning that this year. And we'll also be learning the 5 special verses chosen for the 75th year of Chinmay Mission's anniversary. Summary of the essence of all of Bhagavad Gita in 5 simple verses. So those 2 things we will be learning as part of the National Bhagavad Gita Chanting Competition. It is not a competition with each other. It is a competition with our own selves. We challenge ourselves to chant it perfectly. We compete with we compete with the best version of ourselves to become even better. So that's going on. If you know anybody who you could encourage to consider, you can let them know this is happening. Okay, all right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Now, if anybody has any questions or wants to share anything, we'll open up for that. Those whose videos are off,